Vest Cardigan Challenge. This is final. Hey yo! Just a quick favor before we start. Everything here is free except for my gauge template. Patterns are in the description box and free to download. I do this so many people can enjoy knitting and learning for free. So, if you find this helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps. All right, let's get started. Okay, so let's start. First of all, please check my description box for other details. Finally, I can upload the written pattern. And if you haven't watched my part 1, 2, and 3 video, please go and check. Everything you need are in my description box. Okay, so in the part 3, I started for front piece and finished the V-neck increasing. After finishing the V-neck increasing, continue knitting the body. Today, I'm gonna start from body rib, okay? 2x2 ribbing at the end of the body. So today's contents are body rib, arm rib, and front rib. And add in the button, okay? Super easy and so quick. Okay, first of all, I had originally planned to knit 62 rows before the ribbon from the connection, that part. But I thought it was too long. I, kind of tried it on, and this is quite enough. It was around 48 row. So I decided to include the ribbon within those 62 rows. Again, I plan, but this is customized pretty much, knitting, so you can adjust the way you like it. Okay, so don't be scared. So once the body is complete, switch to one size smaller needle and knit the ribbon. Okay, so I'm going to use the 2x2 ribbon. So the stitch count should be multiple of 4. Then start with knit 2. So repeat of knit 2 and purl 2. You have to be very careful on the first row because, from the second row, you just have to knit over knit and purl over purl. And by the way, if you want to start with knit 2 and end with knit 2, you know what I'm saying? The stitch count has to be multiple of 4 plus 2. Or if you actually start on wrong side, you can actually start with purl 2 and with knit 2. It's really up to you. I'm starting on right side. Okay, so starting with knit 2 and purl 2. Okay, I'm gonna add front row, so I don't really care too much. Okay, so I knitted it about maybe 2.5 inch. 62 rows. Done. And then bind off, and I use one size bigger needle. Why? Because I like to be, the end of the body stretchy. I don't really like tight feeling around my waistline or hip line. You know what I'm saying? So if you try to bind off with one size bigger needle, still don't pull too hard. Kind of, lightly. Okay? Then it's going to be very stretchy. And here comes. There we go. Look at that. Stretchy. Because more fabric. That's why. Okay, so this is done. And I already knitted it my arm rib for one side. Okay, and it's pretty much same technique, so I'm not gonna show you too much. Just knit up and do the 2x2 ribbon and bind off same way. And I just want to show you how to knit up. Okay, and starting from the bottom of the arm, because it's you know it's not really visible area, right? So in the middle, it doesn't really have to be in the middle. By the way, I already, knitted it the other arm, right? Which means you should knit up same amount of the stitch count. Uh, You know, looks more professional, right? Again, the other side 80 and this side 60. That's a little too much difference, right? And a couple more things. You shouldn't really knit up too many. If you knit up too many stitches, it's gonna be wavy, and if it's too less, the stitch pulling each other and it doesn't look too good. Okay, so knit up around and repeat of knit 3 stitch up side by side and then skip 1 space. So 1 2, this is the third one that I'm going to knit up side by side and skip 1 space, then knit up. Okay, this is the one set, and repeat, knit 3 stitch up and skip 1 space. And again, the stitch count should be a multiple of 4. There we go. So you don't have to adjust the number later. Okay, so 1 skip space because I don't want you to knit up too many stitches. Okay, so again, if you knit up too many stitches, it's gonna be wavy. I said also, it's gonna be like standing up. I want the stitches pulling each other a little bit. That way, the rib won't standing up, sticking out. You know. Anyway, so just knit, stitch up around. And now the ribbon is same as body, so I don't really have to tell you. And this time you have to start with knit 2 and end with purl 2. Okay? And how long, it's really up to you. This wasn't including my plan, so it's really up to you. For me, maybe 1.5 inches, something like that, and then bind off same as body. There you go. And now let me talk about the front rib. Okay, so it's pretty much same except the stitch that I already have. Also, the button I'm going to add, so you have to do the button hole, right? So knit up is same. Repeat of knit 3 stitch up and skip 1 space until the other side. And this time again, multiple of 4. Okay? By the way, do you remember that I put the clip-on marker right on end of the V-neck in the part 3 video? That's because for this, I just want to make sure that I have to knit up same stitch count right and left side because I'm going to add button and buttonhole. So if it's, different number, it's going to be a little tricky to, to make sure where I should button and buttonhole. This is the reason. Okay. And again, the stitch count should be multiple of 4, but it's a little bit different. So you have to listen to me carefully. Okay. So I knit up and I'm going to start wrong side and first 3 stitch and last 3 stitch. It's not including the 2x2 ribbon. Okay, here this is the wrong side. Start with purl 3 and end with purl 3. Another word, on right side, start with knit 3 and end with knit 3. And why not purl 2 or knit 2? Because at the end of the body it slightly little curled. So if that part is purl 2 or knit 2, you're only showing 1 stitch. Okay, so if I use 1 more stitch, it show 2 stitch at the bottom. Okay, and if you want to add button at the end of the the cardigan, it's easier. Anyway, I use about 1 inch button. So I decide I'm gonna actually knit total of 8 rows, which means I have to create the buttonhole in the center. Okay, so right on the 4th row, I'm gonna bind off where I wanna put the button. Okay, so here's the thing. So 2x2 ribbon, right? So right on the knit stitch, which is 2 stitch right there, I'm gonna bind off 2 stitch. This is 1, and next one is purl. So I made a purl, but binding off is knit stitch actually. So that 2 stitch is the buttonhole. So the other side, I'm gonna put the button right on those, match knit stitch. You know what I'm saying? And make sure your button is big enough, okay, and small enough. If you're using much smaller button, you know what I'm saying? Buttonhole is too big. And if you're using the much bigger button, you know what I'm saying, right? So you have to be very careful to choose which size, you want to use. Anyway, so 4th row, where you want to put the buttonhole or button, bind off. For me, bind off 2 stitches. And 5th row, add new cast where you did the, bind off. So just knit over knit and purl over purl until no more stitch right there. And I add 2 new cast because I bind off 2 in previous row. That's it. So I actually put the buttonhole right on the knit stitch. And how many? It's really up to you. I didn't want to put too many, button, but not too less. So you think. Okay, there you go. Add a new cast and just keep knitting. That's it. And this is the 5th row, right? So 6, 7, 8th. I'm gonna knit just a rib and bind off. That's about it. Okay? And here comes the button. I put the button, okay, little inside, not right in the center. Okay? And I already know where I want it. And there we go. And pull. And I tied the knot there to secure them. Okay? And one more. Because, this yarn is too thick to sew them many times. So I just did once and then the needle back, then tie the knot. That's about it. Okay? And that's actually quite secure. All right. So the reason I put the button little, inside, not right on the center, that's because when you put the button, you don't really show off. See? It covered, right? And looks right in the center because the buttonhole is right in the center. So don't worry about it. Okay? Anyway, what do you think? There's part 1, planning, and part 4 is ending. There's 4 step-by-step video, and this is just a basic. Okay? You can add cable, different cable, or you don't have to add cable. It's really up to you. Okay? I hope you enjoy and I hope you understand well. Okay? But if you don't, please do not hesitate to contact me. Leave the comment in the comment section below. Okay? So that's it for today. Enjoy knitting. Bye for now.